way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jet is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
Good morning. This is the No Way Jose podcast. You are watching The Morning Dump, and this is today's host, Jose Galison. What is up? Let me know if I'm sounding good, looking good in the comments. I see some nebulism schism in here. Sorry that yesterday was a little bit hectic for those, because I know I've kind of trained you Pavlovian style to get used to 10 o'clock every day morning stream, and I had told you there was going to be one yesterday, and then there wasn't. For one, my boss ended up hitting me up last minute, and it was kind of like, hey, you want to pick up a shift? So I was like, sure, why not? It was a weekend, wife's out of town anyways, so it's kind of like, why not? Just figured I'd do a late one, and then my car broke down on the way home. Belt snapped, which that was fun, so I had to deal with tows and setting up the mechanic, and so it's fun time. So that threw it off. And I intended on yesterday doing a morning stream, but probably late, because I was actually making good time too. I was on schedule to be home around like noonish, so it was still going to be just a couple hours late. And then I already intended on hitting up. I meant to do it like the day prior, maybe, or yesterday. I figured at some point I'd hit up Clint during the weekend and be like, hey, you want to do an economics thing? I figured we'd do like a 30 minutes, the state of the economy type thing. So with the morning thing falling through, I just made them both. So last night we had a nighttime dump. I asked a few people were like, oh, is this a thing now? Like, no, there's no way I'm getting to 2-a-days. That's nuts. I can't do. Doing a daily show is already like, it's nuts that we're in a climate where we're able to garner enough. Jesus Christ. All right. Well, I just got one of those child abduction Amber alerts. That was loud. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not doing two a day. So this isn't a regular thing. It was just the morning dumps, but at night. That's all it was. Wasn't able to make the morning. Maybe we'll do the nighttime dumps occasionally on the rare times and situations like this. But just letting you guys know, it's not a regular thing. But all right, guys, before we get into it today, I see Ray in here saying I'm sounding good. Appreciate it. Before we get into it, I do want to remind you guys that today's episode is brought to you by NWJ Shave Co. If you're tired of that razor burn, irritation, and ingrown hairs that come from those deep penetrating multi-blade cartridges, then this is the way to go. You can return an additional shave and shave just like your grandpa used to. Whether you're shaving your whole what the hell was I trying to say there? Whether you're shaving your whole face or edging up your beard, the single blades provide a barber-grade shave for a fraction of the price. The standard issue includes one traditional safety razor, as pictured here in a box of 100 stainless steel razor blades. $75 to shave for an entire year is what the estimate is there. Let's be real, it's probably going to last you a lot longer unless you're shaving on the reg. Now, if you are someone shaving on the daily or maybe almost daily, you may want to consider the Quarter Shave Club. That'll put you at about 25 cents per replacement blade. He's also got shave lathers. This is also a COVID mandate refusing company. This company is born out of refusing the COVID mandate. So to recap, this is a better product. It's better for your skin. It gives you a smoother shave. It's a cheaper product. It's clearly cheaper than those multi-blades. Just run the numbers. It's pretty obvious. And then on top of all of that, this is a company that doesn't hate your guts, that doesn't want you dead. And to top it all off, you can get 10% off your order if you use Jose at checkout. With that, let's go ahead and get back into it, and let's get into some content. What it do? All right, let's get into The leading story for the day, actually, this isn't actually the leading story, but this is one I found last minute as I was like kind of putting things together. So I thought this was interesting. I mean, just the headline of it. I haven't actually watched the video yet, so we'll see. But this says break. It's from Jim Ferguson from the UK. He says, breaking Hollywood in shock. Dances with Wolves actor arrested for horrific crimes. Nathan Chasing Horse, the once revered actor, has been arrested in a massive Las Vegas police operation. Instead of accused of leading a sinister cult and preying on vulnerable indigenous girls for nearly 2 decades. Authorities say he ran The Circle, a dangerous sect where victims were manipulated, exploited, and controlled. At least 6 victims have been identified, and the charges are chilling: sexual assault, or sexual trafficking, assault, and child abuse. Hollywood's ugly secrets exposed. What this means. A man once celebrated in Hollywood now faces the full weight of the law. How does this go unchecked for so long? Who else was complicit? Industry's darkest corners are being dragged into light. And this is, I'm going to say credit Dom Lucra. So let's watch this. I'm kind of interested to hear more about what exactly is going on here. I will say that last sentence makes me a little bit suspect that it might be kind of fucking horseshit with old Dom Lucra. But let's go ahead and play this.
Is accused of being a child rapist and a cult leader.
You might remember Nathan Chasing Horse from the film Dances with Wolves. Well, he's facing numerous allegations tonight that he victimized women and children for years. It's a story the 8 News Now investigators have been working on tonight.
Vanessa Murphy obtained details now from the investigation.
Nathan Chasing Horse is accused of running a cult and sexually assaulting indigenous girls for years. Sources say in some cases he's believed to have recorded himself committing these crimes, and one alleged victim is as young as 14 years old. Now, police say he lives here in this North Las Vegas home with several wives, and he could have as many as 6. We've learned he's also accused of targeting girls in need, telling them spirits wanted them to have sex with him, and promising them they'd be part of, quote, the circle. Now, this is the SWAT team here earlier. One concern as police were moving in to make the arrest was possible unsecured firearms, even with children present at times. And sources say investigators believed Nathan Chasing Horse.
I gotta say, this music's pretty hype, but and that's also what I tell all my ladies to get laid too. The spirits want it to happen. Let's go.
May have had a plan. If police were to show up, he's accused of advising the women present to take suicide pills and be ready for a shootout. Now, police also saying Nathan Chasing Horse exploited his influence, acting as if he's a spiritual leader in the Native American community to lure vulnerable indigenous girls, even taking them across state lines. They say he targeted girls from single-parent homes without a father figure, groomed them, and abused them sexually and physically repeatedly. Nathan Chasing Horse also accused of sex trafficking victims. Police say he also gave victims emergency contraceptive pills after having sex with them to prevent pregnancies. Investigators believe there are more victims out there and co-conspirators. This is an investigation with ties to Nevada and other states, as Nathan Chasing Horse traveled around the country for ceremonies and even Canada. Now, as far as the police presence here, investigators are searching for any documentation Nathan Chasing Horse may have had about these alleged crimes. Reporting in North Las Vegas, Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
All right, super interesting. Not really much for us to go off of there. Not much to discuss particularly. It kind of is what it is at this point. I'd be interested to see what comes out going forward. If we're going to see more information, they had implications. There were all sorts of other connections. So I will be interested to see how this plays out, which, I mean, hell, we're already tracking the Zizian cult on this show. So I don't know if any of you guys out there do want to keep an eye on this story, and if you want to keep tagging me in updates, feel free to do so. And if I see them, on the timeline, I'll keep an eye out too, because I don't know, this is interesting. I mean, I don't really know who this Dances with Wolves guy is. I don't know if I ever even actually watched that movie. I mean, that was kind of, I remember my dad really liked it. It came out when I was like a little kid. So I don't know, I've heard it was a good movie, but I don't know who this guy is particularly, but I guess he is Hollywood connected. So, I mean, it sounds like probably not super Hollywood connected, because, like, let's be real, I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. And it's like the last thing he was known for was some Dances with Wolves movie. So I don't know, we'll see. But I am interested to see what all comes out of this. So, I mean, once again, keep an eye out. You guys keep an eye out. I'll keep an eye out. You know, tag me and stuff if you guys see it, so we can keep our readers abreast of that. But I guess with that, I was going to jump into our main story, but I think it kind of makes sense to jump into. I had as part of today, I wanted to go into do like a Zizian update, because I've been doing these regularly. I pop in every now and then to this ongoing thread that Andy know, and I kind of pop in on the latest on the Zizian cult. So, I mean, we just talked about that weird Hollywood cult that we just are kind of, it seems like we're just now getting, like that one's just being revealed essentially, whereas this one has been revealed, and it is, we're in the process of, fleshing out the information. So the revelations happened with the other one, whereas this one, the revelations happened and now like ongoing drips of information. So we're getting a more full picture. So, obviously, it is kind of interesting seeing it all. It just seems like there's so much going on these days. I mean, I don't know if maybe it's just because I'm doing a daily show and I'm hyper focused on the news, but it's like, man, especially for someone that hangs out in the parapolitical world, like that's what I typically cover, and it's kind of that's just a nice way of saying conspiracy. Yeah, and you're doing this daily, it fucks with your mind, because I'm seeing this story too, and I am just seeing. Already, I'm like, what is with all these cults? Like, what are we? Is Q onto something? Like, like we talked about last night with Clint, like the idea of like kind of if Trump's really about this shit, if they really are this power, power for good they want to portray themselves as, which I very much doubt is the case. But then I think we're likely, if that is the case, assuming that original premise, then they would therefore go after the deep dark shit going on, like the cults, and then that might look like stuff like this. I mean, not saying the trans thing. I don't know what this still. I'm still trying to get a grip, but it's if anything, this story, the Zizian thing's fascinating, just because you're like, it's bizarre. Whereas I don't know, like I guess the other cult was kind of more speaking to what I was getting. It's just a point being is that there might be more things that come to light, might be more things that get prosecuted that didn't really do so in the past, or didn't really get media coverage. I might be actually, I almost said I might be entirely wrong, but I didn't even really say that was the case. I just said if then, so I was just making a logical statement. If he is this thing that all these people want him to say that he, or a lot of people, his flaters say he is, then therefore he will do this. So we'll see. Time will see. I have been pleasantly surprised, which was a frequent theme of last night's episode, is being pleasantly surprised with how things are working out, and things we didn't think would almost have put money on would have happened before have happened. So it's possible. It feels bizarre to say it. I feel like a fag, this coping, but yeah. Let's get back into the Zizian thing. I'll give you let's get into the Zizian updates. Jack Lasota, the at-large leader of the Trans-Tifa terror cult, has worked hard to remove evidence of himself from the internet, particularly from before he began living as Andrea Phelps and Ziz, but I've uncovered many previously hidden photos. The photo below was taken in 2016 at Berkeley. This was the year he began his writings as Ziz. The writings radicalized and recruited trans people to his cell. Lasota remains at large after disappearing from court when he was allowed to bail out in 2023 in Pennsylvania after obstructing a double homicide investigation. Now, this is the one that frequently comes up because the bail thing, which we have multiple times on the show, but just in case if we have a new listener here today, this one's the bizarre one. I forget the exact amount, but it went from, I want to say it was like a $500,000 bail to then just kind of inexplicably just getting reduced to $10,000. So, going from the realm of almost nobody can really afford this aside from rich people to, man, anybody can afford it. Because I'm pretty sure, or most people can afford it. Because I don't remember how bail works. Was it like don't you pay like 10% of the bail? And then if you don't make your court date, you owe the entire amount or something like that, I think. So point being is if you have a $10,000 bail, then now you have, assuming I'm correct, I've never been to jail. It's just what I've heard through the grapevine. Assuming that's correct, then that would mean he would have to spend $1,000 to get out, which I don't know. I feel like most people can scrape up $1,000 in this sort of situation. So it went from likely being, the $500,000 in actuality being a $50,000 bail, and you having to pay $50,000, but then being on the hook for the $500,000 if you skip court. So that would be $50,000. Most normal people do not have $50,000 just sitting around that they could just willy-nilly be like, oops, got to bail myself out. So that one was bizarre that, for obstructing a double homicide It went from a $500,000 bail to a $1,000 bail. Additionally, I want to say, if I recall correctly, he had already in the past tried to fake his death before, unless this was the first case of him faking his death, because I believe he essentially tried to fake his death like twice or something ridiculous. It's hard to keep track of the ins and outs. It is so bizarre. So point being is, if assuming he had already done the fake death thing before, then that would obviously be a flight risk, and like, if anything, you'd probably not give bail. Like, that would be, you would think that'd be the legal move there. But either way, the bizarre move of reducing the bail from $500,000 to $10,000. Once again, I'm not entirely sure on those numbers, but it's in that ballpark of like going from completely unmanageable amount of money to, oh, I can afford that. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know what the explanation is, if there is some sort of a reasonable explanation to be had if we were to talk to that judge that made that call. But it is one of the glowing aspects of the story. Like, what the fuck is going on here? He went on to live with Felix Ophelia Buckall and later Teresa Milo Youngblood in Chatham County, North Carolina. Buckall and Youngblood then traveled on to Vermont in January 2025, where another member had landed, and they were involved in the deadly shootout with a Border Patrol agent. Here's that picture of him back in 2016. Honestly, kind of looked fairly studly here. It was until later that the old Troon virus seemed to get a hold of him, and he looked like shit. Now here's a tweet. I'm not going to read this one. This one's, I mean, some of this is honestly kind of comes off as faggoty little like right wing shit. Like, oh, look at all these people saying that. Like, so he found some screenshots of some people who were supporting the Zizians, which once again I would say is worth mentioning. But I believe he already mentioned this in the thread, so that's why I'm just kind of like, this is whatever. Like, he has already, I believe, within this gigantic thread there already was one of these throwaway tweets of like, look at all these people supporting the Zizians, which yeah, obviously. Whack. I'm just saying, it's kind of, I don't know. We've already addressed it. And also, it's like, even if it is like they had screenshots in that one, so this one has 4. So let's say that one has 4 as well. 8 screenshots. It's still fairly anecdotal. So, I mean, it is bizarre there would be anyone that would be willing to be like, oh, free the Zizians. But hey, they exist. All right, little is known about what Ziz Transtifa terror cult member Michelle Zajko was doing in Vermont. She is registered to receive mail at a property on Webster Road in Coventry, Vermont. Coventry? Are you kidding me? All right. Okay, whatever. For those who didn't pick up on Coven, witches in a coven. I don't know. Once again, I'm not saying that means anything. It's always weird when you see these bizarre isms in stories. Means probably nothing. Just come on. Coventry, seriously. Essex County State's Attorney Vince Illuzzi told reporter Matt Holderman that a person with a sword-type weapon was seen at the property last month. Okay. This was before the media or law enforcement widely disseminated Michelle Jacko's name and photo. In 2022, a sword was used by Ziz members in Vallejo, California to impale and stab an assassination target. Curtis Lind used a firearm to shoot them in self-defense, killing one and injuring another assailant. The group allegedly sent another member with a blade to assassinate the 82-year-old last month before he could testify at trial. Zajko, whose parents were shot execution-style in late 2022, is a person of interest for federal and Pennsylvania state police authorities. She remains at large. Her firearms were used by the Vermont duo included in the deadly shooting of the Border Patrol agent near the Canadian border. So I do find it particularly interesting that if you caught that, they said a month ago they were seen with they were seen at a property last month, at their property in Vermont with a sword-type weapon, which obviously just means someone saw them with some sort of long-bladed weapon. That doesn't mean that's the bladed weapon used in it. I don't even know if, I don't remember if that was ever said, if that was like recovered at the scene or what. There was never a specific, in detail I remember. I feel like the implication here is obviously to imply, oh shit, that might be the sword. But yeah, I mean, it's bizarre. They found this person, they saw them a month ago with a sword. This is a person whose parents were, offed, looking like it was a part of the cult killings. And I believe this person seems like they're implying likely had a hand in the Curtis Lind death in some way, shape, or form is what the implication is. Considering this person, I don't know, he, whatever, had a blade, a long-bladed weapon, and then on top of that, the recent thing that kind of spawned all these revelations was the incident at the Vermont border with the Border Patrol agent where they were, I forget who it was, Buckholt and Ophelia or whatever, or Youngblood and Buckholt, I believe. Those two shot the the Border Patrol officer, and it was apparently with her firearms, this person's firearms. So once again, this person has the firearms that were used in a murder. This person's parents were both killed in a murder. And then on top of that, this person was seen last month with a long-bladed weapon when one of the multiple murders, not even the two murders I just mentioned, another murder, the Curtis Lind individual, the old person that they were living on his property, was killed with or not killed. He was initially attacked with a sword, I believe, the first time, and then later, when he died, when they finally came back to kill him to prevent him from testifying at a trial, he was killed with a bladed weapon of some sort. I don't know if the implication here is they're trying to imply that perhaps it was a sword that he was killed with. I don't know if we know that. I mean, we do seem to know that he was impaled with a sword in the initial attack. But anyways, point being is this person is very connected to all of this. So also, Andy says, I've obtained the death certificate of the mysterious German Ziz Trans-Tifa terror member who died in the shootout in Vermont last month that killed the Border Patrol agent. Felix Ophelia Balkholt was cremated on February 3rd. His German background as a math youth genius is largely shrouded in mystery. The German press has not been interested in reporting on him. He came from a very wealthy and connected elite background in Freiburg. I can now report that his parents are famous music composers and music academics. His mother is Carola Balkholt and his father is Caspar Johannes Walter. Carola was a visiting faculty member at Harvard. Okay, that's pretty up there. Felix worked as a quantitative trader for Tower Research Capital, reportedly earning $500,000 a year. Holy fuck. That money was used to finance his operations with the Ziz Group when they relocated to Chatham County, North Carolina. It's believed he purchased most of the group's extensive and expensive equipment as they sought to rebuild the commune in rural Vermont. Oh man, almost feels like a fucking trans Andy Strassmeyer for those who are familiar with Oklahoma City bombing stuff. I mean, I'm not saying this person is a glowy, but it just is. This is the one person that's out of the country, from Germany, Strassmeyer, Germany. This person, makes plenty of money, comes from, prolific, genes, I guess you could say, or prolific family, semi-prolific. I mean, these are academics, fairly, one of which is, a frequent feature at Harvard. So, I mean, they're no slouches. So it is, I don't know, interesting. It is a bizarre, at the very least it's bizarre. It may mean nothing, but it is bizarre. One of the overlooked Ziz trans terror members being charged with murder, attempted murder, and aggravated mayhem in Solana County, California, over a deadly attack in 2022 is Suri Dow. Now, this is probably one of the least reported individuals in this group. I think we've only done one little, one little tweet thread within this, or one little tweet within a thread of this exact thread once he mentioned this person, but it gets a little juicier. The press has not reported anything about Dow beyond her charges. The Solano County DA's office, Solano Sheriff, and Vallejo PD have said nothing for years and are not answering my questions. But maybe the reason Dow has been wholly overlooked is because her identity is not actually Suri Dow. She's using an alias, fake identity, fake birthday, and prosecutors don't appear to know this. I pressed her lawyer about Dow's legal name, and after several days, he sent me a very carefully worded response. I have only known my client to be Suri Dow. All right, that's all we have so far in the realm of updates on the Zizian cult. But it is, the plot thickens even more so. I mean, we got more connections on who this Felix Ophelia Balkholt, the weird German nationalist that was in this cult. It's a bizarre story, and then this Suri Dow person being. According to Andy, at least, I don't know how Andy seems to know this, but seems to think they're using a fake identity. So, yes, which goes. This is also the least talked about member that we haven't really heard anything about. Also happens to be one that supposedly is under a fake identity, and supposedly, I guess, the prosecutors are saying they don't appear to know this, which I find that to be. Doubtful, I guess. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I guess it depends. How long has this person been in jail? It just seems like, okay, they've been in like two weeks now, essentially. It's been 12 days, so almost 2 weeks. I feel like that would be plenty of time for them to have figured this out. And I mean, especially if we already have Andy figuring it out on his own. So I don't know. Maybe he did beat them to the punch, though, and they don't know what to do with this person. But it's weird that how quiet they've been. And I mean, you would think that if there's a fake identity that somehow they would, I don't know, they'd be able to realize when they ran the name or something. I don't know. I don't really know how that works on that side of things. So just simply odd. I mean, okay. All right, let's hop back into the chat, see what you guys have to say. National chasing or Nathan chasing horrors talked about nominative determinism. Hell yeah. Elliot James, we're back, baby. Yeah, that's true. Jordan says you pay the bail bondsman $1K, he puts up the whole $10K and keeps your $1K. Okay, and I'm assuming that what is it? So he puts up the $10K and keeps your $1K. So then you owe him. Okay, got it. So I don't understand how that's a feasible business setup though. Does he get the money back from the court when you? Oh, never mind. I'm retarded. The next tweet right there. When you appear and his $10K is returned to him. So I'm assuming when you go to court, that means the court will reimburse him. Okay. Alan says, do we got to get our doinks cut off to join Ziz? I don't know. It seems that way. And Alan also says, Andy, no, is one of my favorite gays. Yeah, he's pretty up there. He does pretty good reporting, it seems. He does kind of get caught up in a little bit of the conservative faggotry and like kind of, I don't know, being a little, but not really though. He's pretty fucking good. He's pretty good. So I don't know. But then again, I'm kind of talking to my ass a little bit. I don't really follow him too much. But the bits I do see, I'm okay, good stuff. All right, let's get into the actual main story of the day. This is we talked about this yesterday on my show with Clint. He was on the stream. We didn't go too deep in it because for one, it's like I didn't really want to. I didn't really have anything prepared, and it just kind of felt weird because I forgot when I did bring it up jokingly initially, not really as to like intending to go deep into it. But I'd kind of forgotten, sort of, that like Clinton, we're buddies. This is like, I don't know, what are we going to really do? Spend like 20 minutes talking about this and his buddy? It is awkward. I know. I could totally see like, hey, this is your buddy. Do we really want to have a long, deep talk about this? And he didn't really seem to care all too much. Although I think, I will admit, partially the story is definitely somewhat smut. And I have seen a lot of people doing the whole like, oh, here's my take on this story. And then they go, oh, we're this many trillion in debt and this and that and this. And it's like kind of joke being like not mentioning it at all. And like, some sort of tweet like, let me tell you my take. And then blah, blah, and then says nothing about it at all. Kind of like, I don't care. He has other important things going on. And I get it. There are other important things going on. But given who this Elon dude is and the role that he's playing in the power politics, I think it's kind of worthwhile to understand how this motherfucker operates. And it's especially when you dig into this a little bit, it gets kind of fucking bizarre. And I kind of put out a joking tweet yesterday, but it's like only semi-joking. But by the way, real quick, for those on audio, you may not get what I'm getting at since I haven't shared the. You can't see the thing. I'm kind of assuming since people can see the visual aid. Essentially, this is a story we talked about yesterday. Ashley St. Clair claims she had a child by Elon Musk, and so we're going to kind of go into the details. But it is bizarre. We have this super duper rich guy just pumping and dumping it. But anyways, my tweet that I put out yesterday, I was saying that maybe this guy has just kind of reinventing the wheel, and he's not really. He's either doing in lieu of or in addition to the whole standard blackmail operation of like I video you doing, influential people in certain, integral positions doing awful things, and now you have blackmail on them, and now they're your bitches, basically. And you guys kind of work together to advance you guys' common interests. Kind of almost like creates an unholy pact between the two of you when things like this happen. Now, it's like I've said yesterday, I was like, maybe this guy is he's reinventing the wheel instead of in lieu of that, trafficking operation, or not trafficking, but blackmail operation. Then maybe he's just pumping and dumping random broads in key areas to kind of garner influence, which, it's a little ridiculous and a little bit silly and a little bit tongue in cheek. But there's something to that. Especially when you start looking into this guy. I know a lot of people probably don't. I had a couple people being like, when I tweeted about this a couple times, just they were like, she's not even that influential. Like, I don't even know who she is. But this bitch is influential as fuck. Like, I will admit, I bet you the majority of you watching this or listening to this, if you're not someone who's on Twitter, you probably have no idea who this broad is. None whatsoever. Now, those are two different questions, because I said something about her being influential in one tweet. This broad is like worked for the Babylon Bee. She's super connected with all these conservative, like the nexus point of influence that is her is substantial. She's no Elon Musk, that's for sure, but she does have a pretty integral like nexus of influence with lots of different people. And I don't know, it's almost like the fact that she's not recognizable almost somewhat works to her advantage, where she's like a little bit kind of flies under the radar. No one really might think that she's the influence operative, herself included. Because I mean, when you have pillow talk, or you have someone you have a child with, I mean, they may not know that they're some sort of target, or that you are utilizing that relationship to get information. That's just how information leaks. So, anyways, I've kind of ranted enough about this. I thought it was interesting. She ended up doing a sit-down interview with the New York Post. So this is Keith Woods here. He says, so because Ashley St. Clair was worried the media might report on her child, she invited the media into her house to give an exclusive interview about her child before the media could report it. Got it. Now, to be fair, there's something to that. I get, there's actually, I know it sounds like in one sense kind of ridiculous, but it's also kind of true. I could see how this was the case, because she said something. I remember initially when this all popped off, she put out a tweet. I probably should have brought that up, but whatever. She put out a tweet saying, "Hey, I had Elon's kid 5 months ago. I'm only releasing this information now because there have been reporters hounding me, or blah blah blah." She kind of framed it as like they were trying to dox her baby, or that she was being aggressively pursued by journalists, or whatever. I mean, I don't know the details of what's true or what's not, but that is kind of the claim, that she was being hounded by the media, and it was like likely to come out. So while it is a little ridiculous in one hand to be like, I'm going to do this full story about this, I don't know. I kind of get it, because you're like, whatever. You get to be the one who controls the narrative as it comes out. If you're the one who did it, if you're the one who does the full on but something about the optics of like a full on like New York Post picture spread and everything seems bizarre to me. I don't know. Maybe there would have been better ways to go about it. It does seem bizarre. But let's get into this. This is New York Post. Ashley St. Clair, an influencer who claims to have Musk-Elon child, reveals life of secrecy after a whirlwind romance with down-to-earth billionaire, quote-unquote down-to-earth billionaire, which I read a little bit of this earlier, kind of skimmed through the whole thing. Down-to-earth, after the claim she makes in here, is pretty wild to claim. But although I guess maybe that would be maybe her initial impression of the man. Okay. Let me pop in the chat real quick. I see my buddy Tyler. He says, not likely there was a story in the works. Lots of her story isn't believable. I agree. There's a lot of bizarreness about this story, kind of skimming through it. What's up? And Sandy continues. Good morning. Definitely not a guy who doesn't catch fish. Schrodinger's fuckery says she's been an insufferable cunt for years. I'll be honest. A few times I see her, I'm either not impressed, don't care, or find her being insufferable. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know a ton about her, but that's kind of generally been my impression. Yeah, someone says she looks like an AI creature. Yeah. Shit, I thought it was Avril Lavigne. Sam says that bitch looks like every girl you didn't want to talk to in high school. Yeah, she kind of looks like a bitch. Hey, Doctor420, what is up? Wasn't Ashley always posting Zionist propaganda? Yes, once again, she's a Babylon Bee. Babylon Bee homie. Or not homie. I'm not friends with her. I don't know why I said that. Babylon Bee Peep, I guess. She's one of those people over there, which is bizarre. I don't know enough about her to understand entirely how she crafts her image or how she portrays herself. But my understanding of the Babylon Bee is that it is let me take this down real quick, that it is a Christian conservative parody, thing, essentially. Like, they create articles, or kind of like The Onion, but with a Christian conservative bent. And I know a lot of people in the past, day or two, when I think it was, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before it came out. Either way, a lot of people it was the day before, but it's super late. A lot of people are coming after, being like, oh, look at the conservative movement. And then a lot of people are like, well, we're Republicans, not conservatives. Don't group us in with that. And she never said that, but that was kind of like the he-woman, or the he-woman power shit that was going on out there, was that type of we're just because we're Republican doesn't mean we're conservative, and we're tired of your fucking traditional blah, 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 like that kind of gay shit. But I don't know if that really holds with her, when it's like the thing she's known for is being the Babylon Bee's relatively kind of pretty chick. That's really all she's kind of known for. So I mean, it's not that crazy she's posting Zionist propaganda. Also, the kind of the point being is that this is, you would think, part of your image. You would, to try to be somewhat religious, traditional, whatever. But I want to say it's like her third fucking child out of which, granted, I'm not even trying to be shitty entirely. it's like, I don't know. I mean, my mom, it's not to throw her into that, but my mom has, everyone, I have two siblings, and we both have different parents. I mean, obviously not ideal. I mean, my mom clearly was, having a wild time in her early days, but, when she got older, she was one of the most religious people I know. But it's also like, when I say that, like, this was happening, like, recent. Like, this child is 5 months old. I believe there's also another toddler, and I don't know how old the other kid is. So it's like, these are all super recent. So it's like, I don't know, really, we're expecting you did like an about face completely. What, you're going the whole super religious conservative way. I don't know. It just comes off as bizarre to me. All right, let me here we go. I am pro Elon banging more chicks. I am, I don't know. I'm not for this. This is weird. We'll get more into this. I'm for people having children and raising children, but I am not for billionaires, essentially creating a coven of concubines to which they, constantly, put children into, and then bring these children into the world, to which probably have varying degrees of involvement in every one of their lives. No, this is very much in like the Tate mindset of like raising children, which I am not a fan of. Like, no, while I am not a religious person, I'm very much on the like, you should ideally try to find like one person and like try to hold it down and have a kid and try to have a, I don't know, functional relationship. I mean, I just think that isn't right. I know everyone's like, oh, well, we need to share his genetics. I don't know, get his dick out of your mouth. This is like, once again, I've covered on the show multiple times the idea of these characters that we have out there where we're given these Paul Bunyan myths of who they are, and I think Elon's kind of one of them. And by the way, I'm not saying he's not a smart guy, that he's not even a genius, and that he hasn't done lots of cool things. But we're given these Paul Bunyan stories about these people, about being the craziest fucking genetic freaks out there in the world, and I don't necessarily buy into it. For example, a good example of that is Vivek that we covered in the show a while back, and kind of going into, don't get me wrong, very smart guy, very seems to be very with it. But when you look into it, there's a lot of like, he got a shitload of money from his parent, from his mom. His mom has a fuckload of money. A lot of this came from like what looks like Wall Street pump and dumps. So it's not this self-made billionaire capitalist, in like the positive, like ANCAP type way that we've been sort of kind of finagled to believe. And I think that's sort of the same way with Elon. We get a lot of the like, oh my God, look at we need to get him to just dump his load in everyone and share the genetics of the world. I don't care if he's even in their lives at all. Like, no, this is fucking stupid. I'm not saying you necessarily, Dr. He said this, but a lot of people are like, get his dick out of your mouth, grow up. This is like he's just another human being. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think he's probably an impressive human being, but in his own ways. But I also think we are given a lot of Paul Bunyan bullshit. Tyler says, note the part where the BB coordinates a flight to meet Elon. Yes, we'll get to that. Racist Babylon B was okay, but since October 7th, they showed us who they are. Stevie says, Sam Tripoli brought me your hell yeah, and we'll get more of them coming here soon. Me and Austin are going back on a tinfoil hat in like a week and some change. So not next week, but the following week. Actually 2 weeks now from now, 2 weeks and some change. My bad. So we'll be going back on soon. So hell yeah. He also Austin just recorded an episode with what can I think? Sam. I just recorded an episode with Sam that was behind the paywall though. So go support our homie Austin. Go support his Patreon because that's he did with Brad Binkley and Sam Tripoli. They put together a paywalled episode to kind of go to all their paid people. So yeah, go support the homie. Someone said Elon just followed Loomer. I know I've seen a lot of jokes that he's gonna bust a nut in her too. I heard the kid was born 9 months after Elon's Auschwitz visit. Yeah, some things just get you worked up, I guess. He's spreading autism. Yeah, and imagine being fucked by Elon's weird body. After that PTSD, I can understand why she didn't think what was going on in Gaza is that bad. Yeah. I've never seen evidence of Elon being a genius. To be fair, I've seen him say some relatively smart stuff, but he does this thing too. Pay attention to him next time you see him do a speaking engagement of any sort. He does this thing where he'll like, someone will ask a question, he'll just, well, I think that we should do this. So like, it's almost like this weird And when he does, I feel like it's the same thing as when you hear like a British accent. It does this thing where it tricks people into thinking they're smart. I mean, much like for those who watched the recent debate with Dave Smith and Josh Hammer, I think his name was, on Israel, another Israel debate. It was more on the specifics of like whether our priorities align with them or whatever. In that one, at one point, he Josh Hammer asked him. He asked him, "Hey, Dave, who do you trust more, Bibi Netanyahu or God, who's the fucking Bin Laden?" And there were I saw a few tweets recently of people being like, "Oh, like look at Dave, he couldn't even answer this question, blah blah blah." Like, and this is one of those examples of it's like if you are intelligent, you can see that question and you go, "That was a scummy move," and if anything, you knee jerk now or against this guy. Like anyone who's intelligent understands logic. That's where you're at. Stupid people see that and they go, he couldn't even pick between the two. Which, to be honest, Daryl Martyr made, you forget his name, Daryl Cooper. He said recently that's like, and I actually thought this too, and immediately when I heard this, I was like, Bin Laden, obviously. He was a religious zealot that I don't think he ever really minced words. He was pretty honest. I mean, I don't agree with what he did, but he was honest. Bibi Netanyahu is a paid liar. So that aside, I just kind of making the point that's like certain things, I don't know. Elon's another, my point being is like you listen to him speak and you hear him and you go, and and like, don't get me wrong, I recognize there is a level of intelligence behind this man, but he's not, I mean, and once again, this could be just a thing when it comes to his speaking. I am not impressed when I've heard him speak. That's really, like, I've heard him on Joe Rogan before. I've heard him in interviews. I've never particularly been all that impressed. I found him moderately entertaining at times, kind of endearing, but never really impressive in that context, in that format, particularly. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the retard. I just have never really seen him say anything that was like mind-blowing or really, showed some sort of crazy depth of knowledge that was just like, whoa. So Bin Laden and blew up the towers. It was you, Nick. I tell the truth. I did it, guys. Obviously, I think you're referring to BB, just being silly. All right. Whew. So Dr. Tory says he works with thousands of engineers. If he wasn't a genius, it would be well known. I don't know if that's necessarily true. He's been kind of mostly in management, so I think you can kind of get away with that. So also at his level, they probably have a fuckload of NDAs. So I don't know. I'm not even saying, once again, I'm not even saying he's not a genius. I'm just saying we're kind of sold this Paul Bunyan story of like he's like the greatest genius of all time, and he's like a one in a lifetime genius or whatever. I don't see that. And if anything, hell, even the name of his company, Tesla, it kind of provides allusions to that, where you're like, I don't think he's a Tesla. I don't know. And Dr. says, I taught autists when I was a teacher with 130 IQ that sound like morons but can calculate algebra in their heads, and that's true. Also, that as well. I mean, I do be clear when it comes to the verbal side of things that it could just be that. So that is obvious. I'm just saying I particularly have never found anything that leads me to believe that he is this crazy Paul Bunyan character that we're sold. That's all I'm saying. Not saying he isn't smart. Not saying he isn't a genius. Not saying he hasn't done cool things. I don't know if it's as simple as people portray it. But all right, let's get into the story. Crap. Do I have to really sign into this? Don't make me do that. Okay. Here we go. God damn it. It wasn't doing this earlier. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, now it's gone. The conservative influencer who claims to have given birth to Elon's 13th child spoke publicly for the first time Saturday about her alleged relationship with the billionaire ex-owner, which she claimed began in her DMs. An exclusive sit-down from her glitzy Manhattan pad Saturday, Ashley St. Clair claimed to the Post that the 53-year-old Tesla and SpaceX mogul is funny and down to earth. He's kind of funny. But said that he wanted to keep their baby a secret for everyone's safety. St. Clair asked to keep her son's name a secret, but revealed he is happy and healthy. My child is the most perfect thing that happened to me. I wouldn't change anything, Gus St. Clair, 26, which I'm glad about that. That's great. St. Clair broke the internet on Friday when she posted on X that she gave birth to Musk's baby 5 months ago, a revelation she said she was forced to make due to prying tabloid reporters. Now here's a photo of her, which is like, once again, this is a lot of people point out, this seems weird, distasteful. I don't know. Like here, like this like forlorn look when it's like the story is, hey, Elon Musk came in me. Like, it comes off, I'm sorry, it's bizarre. Hell, fuck, even the feet in there. Not that I'm like a feet guy, but I'm, all the perverts, and they're just bizarre. Most women are even weird about showing their feet. It is just bizarre. I don't know. There's something about this is just odd to me. Musk has not yet acknowledged allegations, and his reps did not respond to multiple requests for comment by the Post. He has made numerous unrelated posts on X since his alleged lover made the announcement. However, Ashley and Elon have been privately working toward the creation of agreement about raising their child for some time. It is disappointing that a tabloid reporter who repeatedly ambushed Ashley and her family, holy shit, they can't even spell it right, this is a Post, made it impossible to complete that process confidentially. Representative Brian Glicklich said in a statement on X on Saturday, "We are waiting for Elon to publicly acknowledge his parental role with Ash." Maybe her name is spelled like that. They spelled it that way multiple times. Is her name spelled like that? Please tell me it's not. I know it's a complete side. No, they just spelled it wrong twice. Okay. I was like, I can't believe her name's spelled like that. All right, let's keep moving. We are waiting for Elon. All right. The platform which Musk bought for $44 billion in 2022 is where the two first crossed paths in May 2023, according to St. Clair. Another weird photo of like, hey, let me do a glamour shot on this article about Elon Musk coming in me. Once again, bizarre. Which I guess, to be fair, I don't know, what poses do you do for the Elon came in me article? It's just something about these just seem odd. I don't know. Musk was very funny. He was smart. He was very down to earth. Started with X interactions, and he slid into my DMs. I think it was a meme. She recalled at the time she didn't particularly have much interest in Elon other than his acquisition of Twitter. She first became aware of the billionaire thanks to her gay best friend, who frequently asked her to watch videos of Musk's SpaceX rocket launches. And at one point he said, "Are you ever in San Francisco or Austin?" And I said, I am in Austin and Texas a good amount for work," St. Clair continued, adding that she worked for Babylon Bee, a conservative satirical website at the time. A short time later, the site CEO Seth Dillon called St. Clair and asked her to fly to San Francisco in the next 48 hours, she claimed. So here's a photo of her when she was pregnant, clearly, which, hey, glowing. It's always pretty. I think it's always cute to see pregnant women. I want to be very clear. Like, I'm glad that she gave birth, I'm glad that she didn't abort. I know a lot of people brought that up and like, oh, how are you shaming these women for blah, 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 blah. And you're like, for one, I mean, I want to point out Milo has been on a tear and he's made claims that apparently she's had other abortions. So it's like, and it kind of made it seemed to imply that it's like, hey, well, the other guys were poor. So like, I don't know. It's kind of fucked up that like, hey, you're not going to kill, hey, whether or not you kill him is dependent on the income of the father. And I don't know. Either way, I'm just point being is it's great that she, actually, instead of getting an abortion, I don't know. It just seems like a weird way to frame things. It'd be like, I'm so glad you didn't murder someone. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of another example of something similar. It'd be like, if you have a problem with something or someone, be like, well, leave them alone. Just be glad they didn't kill them. You're like, what? Yeah. Anyways, after the interview, I got a text from him saying, "Feel like going to Providence tonight." St. Clair continued. The alleged romance blossomed from there. She claimed until she became pregnant. She claimed she was restricted from telling more than a close-knit circle of people she even was even carrying a child. Now, this is where it gets bizarre. The claims of secrecy and being forced to do certain things, meanwhile never saying how she was being forced. Which we're gonna have another story after this. I mean, I know we're kind of spending a ridiculous amount of time on this, but I find it particularly interesting some of the weird angles this goes into. We'll get into in a second, and I'm kind of foreshadowing a little bit, like, why are you being so secretive? How were you being forced to be so secretive? I find that interesting. I was told to keep it secret. I was asked to keep it secret forever, claimed St. Clair, declining to provide a reason for the confidentiality or any material proof that Musk is the biological father, which a lot of people have brought up. They're like, how do we even know if this is true? I'm going to go ahead and go out on a lark here and go, I think it's true. The only reason I say that is just, it's an insane thing for someone of her caliber to claim if it was false. So, because all it would take is Musk to come out and push against it, and then now she is shamed in front of the entire, all of her, the people she has, maintained relationships with over the years, and basically likely will send her career down the tube. So It just seems like a bizarre thing to lie to. Obviously, we could get some weird curveball and find out later she's fucking lying. I just really doubt it. Musk allegedly provided her with a lavish apartment in the financial district where rent for a 2-bedroom can soar to nearly $40K, according to Street Etsy, and a hefty security detail, but no romance, St. Clair claimed. So he put her up, put a baby in her, and apparently they're saying there was no romance, at least not at this point. She said something about a budding romance before, so it's a little bit little contradictory there. So I don't know if they're implying there was a romance at first. He put a baby in her and then dialed back the romance. I don't know. Bizarre. I do have a feeling. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. This guy is a nerd dork. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he lies like crazy to women. Just throwing it out there. That just seems like something that men who typically are not, how do I put this? Guy who came from he probably, let's be real, this guy likely when he was young probably didn't do so well with women. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's been killing it as an adult because he's a billionaire. But he's kind of put these, has these habits that have been fallen into place. So anyone who's, how do I put it? Guys, when we start out, at least me, I know myself, and a lot of other men that I've talked to, when we kind of start the dating game, we don't know what we're doing. When we're like in our teen years, we're kind of retarded. And we kind of initially, a lot of us think that there are certain things we need to say to women to get them to like us, to sleep with us, to want to be in relations with, whatever. And a lot of times we'll do that. And when as you get older, you realize you kind of don't have to do that. You can kind of start being more upfront within reason. So you can be more upfront and be less of a scumbag, because it's shitty. That's a shitty way to be. It's just when you're young, you don't realize that you think this is the only way to go about it. And you realize like, oh, I can just be honest with some women. There are women in the world that I'm like, hey, if I just want to sleep with you, I can be honest and they'll be receptive. And then also women that like, you can have a relationship and you don't have to be like, like, I don't know, claim some sort of false love or whatever. But point being, I could see him being the guy that dials that up to get what he wants, whether that's sex or literally just a child. I'm unsure if this guy even actually has sex with these people. I wouldn't be surprised if he follows that template that tale as old as time of men using template that, I think usually men of like higher caliber, at least younger higher caliber. Like, I mean, like when you're like say you're a young jock or whatever, like you're used to at a younger age, you got used to being able to pull women. I think those men tend to usually be slightly better at being more honest and because you realize you can still get women that way. Anyways, Musk alleged, All right. The young mother was allegedly forced to spend her pregnancy alone. I was completely isolated during my pregnancy. Every part of my career and everything I used to do, I couldn't do anymore. I was told not to tell anybody, she claimed. Around the same time as her pregnancy, the influencer and author's Instagram went dark for months until she posted a photo from President Trump's inauguration on January 20th. Which, once again, this is weird that she would even, go dark like this. Or, a lot of this stuff is bizarre considering her role as an influencer, because like that's a big part of it. So you would think there's some other stuff going on. Text viewed by the post between Claire and Jared Birchall, Musk's money manager, appear to show that she complied with the billionaire's wish to be left off the birth certificate to preserve privacy, security, and confidentiality. Birchall, the CEO of Neuralink, which Musk co-founded, did not respond to requests for comment. Some Musk-obsessed fans apparently began speculating that she had given birth to the Tesla CEO's baby, began harassing her both online and on the street, she said. There was a cohort of very violent stalkers who started threatening my toddler. They would send me photos of him with blood, and I would witness his blood splattering death and saying I was Elon's whore, she claimed. Fighting back tears as she referred to her older child from a previous relationship. St. Clair emphasized she was willing to stay silent because it would also protect her newborn's privacy, until a tabloid, which she declined to name, started snooping around. That's what led her to unleash the shocking X announcement on Friday, accusing the media of trying to do her and the baby harm. I don't think they mentioned this in the article, but I do want to throw it out there. A lot of people have been quick to point out that this happened all on Valentine's Day, and on Valentine's Day, Elon Musk was seen out with another woman. I don't know who that woman was, but he was out with some woman. So a lot of people have claimed this might have been some sort of jilted lover type bullshit. That's what led her to unleash a shocking X announcement on Friday, accusing the media of trying to do her and her baby harm. It's very hard to understate how much I am processing right now. I am sad that my hand was forced by the media to do this now, but there's also a sense of relief because I've been forced to live in secrecy for almost a year of my life, she wrote. I cannot explain the kind of primary pain you feel as a mother, and you're talking to people and they ask you about the one kid, and you have to lie and carry this burden in secret. You have to lie to people you love. Another picture of her. This one seems a little bit more like more appropriate for the occasion, I guess. You just kind of straight shot. I don't know. St. Clair said she has not communicated with Musk since posting the statement, which was not flagged with a community note to warn viewers of misinfo. St. Clair said she notifies his team that she would be writing about her claims on X on Friday before she hit send. He ignored it, she claimed. Despite the drama, St. Clair is at peace with her decision to go public, but hopes the revelation will allow her to give her baby a normal life. Almost every relationship in my life would be bastardized and disingenuous because I couldn't tell them what was going on. My son has never taken a walk outside in 5 months. Which, I mean, for one, it's 5 months. They don't walk, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Who the fuck even takes their 5-month-old outside to walk? That's a weird thing. But no, like, I'm assuming that just means you haven't taken your child outside in 5 months, which that's insane. She said, I've never been able to take my baby for a walk. So I guess like in a stroller type deal. I was terrified that someone would see I had a baby and it would get out, she continued. The mother-child duo have met some of Musk's other 12 children, but not their mothers. They have spent time with Musk's mother, Mae Musk, though she didn't know about the pregnancy. St. Clair asked to keep the baby's name a secret, but revealed they are happy and healthy. I'm a good mom, and that's what drives most of my decisions, and my child's are my whole world. The mother of two, okay, I guess it's two, author, I keep hearing people say three, author of the 2021 children's book, Elephants Are Not Bird, the story of an elephant named Kevin who likes to sing and then is convinced by a vulture named Culture that he warbles so well he must actually be a bird. Oh, good. All right, yeah, that's... All right, the book was the first published under conservative publishing house Brave Books, with St. Clair describing the story as an unapologetic rebuke of transgender acceptance. She was later tapped by self-described woke free beer company Conservative Dad's Ultra-Right to appear in the company's Real Women of America 2024 calendar, which was released in December 2023. The calendar featured several well-known conservative women, with St. Clair pictured in a bubble bath sporting a black bra and a pearl necklace. Newsweek reported. That same year, a series of tweets went viral after she accused Delta Airlines of flying okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me see. All right, there's nothing else pertinent to what we're talking about. Okay, that's all just whatever shit about her background. I don't care about that. Okay, so we hit the main beats in there. This is bizarre. Obviously, the levels of secrecy, all that nonsense. All right, let's hop in the chat before we move on to the next thing and see what you guys have to say about all this. All right. Boo, boo, boo. All right. Let me see. I heard the kid's name is a combination of Freemason hand signs. Yeah, probably. Pump and dump is what I do most every morning. Gang signs as a name is diabolical. Yeah, that'd be a cool name. That photo of her sitting in the window is set up for a meme template. Yeah, I know, right? Someone says, Tyler, in what context would you recommend a client do what Ashley did? Let me see. I've read that Elon backwards or Knoll is an obsolete English word for the head. On Reddit, they had a link about all his kids were conceived in vitro. Yes, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I kind of did a little bit of implying there. Had to explain to friends that Milo tricked everyone to thinking the ball gazer / gotcha hand sign was a white power symbol while on 4chan. Yeah, that was a great troll by him. And he's kind of been back on it with this whole Ashley St. Clair thing. Sam says, my brother's baby mama has 3 kids with 3 guys. Nobody wrote an article about her because none of the followers are Elon Musk, and also she's a junkie. He doesn't even have sex with those women. It's all IVF. Yes, that's what we're getting into. Weird stuff. NDS stole Jose's color scheme. They actually kind of did a little bit. Somewhat. The color scheme, not so much. Jose stole it from bees. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a patent on yellow and I will give them though the NWJ, the little like New World Order type template thing. I guess I stole it from New World Order, but they took that from me too. Which I'll say, hey, I get it why they took it. It looks nice. I had that even before Top started doing my designs for the show. So. All right. I heard that he had to use IVS because his dick is shaped like a Cybertruck. Maybe. I don't know. Tyler says, I had a client, famous football player, and got a restriction for online media posting. But this appears to be the agreement between the other two. In other words, he asked her and she complied willingly. Now, in the vein of, our resident lawyer here, Tyler, I am kind of the opinion, just reading this article, and maybe Tyler can agree with me or not. I think there was probably some sort of contractually something or other involved here. Like, it just feels like that. The amount of secrecy, The amount she was hooked up. It just feels like this was almost like a business arrangement. Like, here you go, take this money, shut the fuck up, don't say this. These are the terms of the agreement. You get X, Y, and Z, and I get a baby from you. I don't know. That's kind of what it feels like. Someone's saying she's a grifter. Yeah, that's for sure. This whole thing feels really dark. Like the hypocrisy, the lack of connection between the parents, the desire to keep a secret. I feel bad for this kid. Yes, I feel bad for this kid. This is weird. This is not how children should be raised. I don't believe that. I don't believe it at all. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's been such an important thing in my life to be involved in my kids' lives. I can't imagine if I was some billionaire, selling my jizz to broads and they're just kids everywhere. Like, it just ain't right. It's not natural. I don't know. And if this was a biz arrangement, then she just breached it, presumably. That's kind of my point too. I think this kind of feels like, I don't know the terms of the contract or if maybe she spoke to lawyers or what, but it almost feels like, maybe this whole like tabloid thing is some sort of flimsy, some sort of way to get out of the contract. I don't know. It just seems bizarre to me. All right, let's get to the other one. It's a continuation of this story. This is from Vanity Fair. This is exactly what Top or Raven, I don't know who that was in the chat, was referring to. Here we go. It's from Vanity Fair. The headline: Elon Musk built a compound for his 11 children and their moms. Keep in mind, this was in 2024 in October. So this is, I guess we're at 12 or more, and keeps offering friends and acquaintances his sperm. All right, Elon Musk is obsessed with procreation. We know this because, one, he frequently says things like, a collapsing birth rate is the biggest danger civilization faces by far, which, by the way, I actually kind of agree with him. And he's fathered nearly a dozen children with 3 separate women, and presently appears to be trying to at least double or triple his numbers with whoever will accept his offer of DNA. Now, I will say, everyone goes, oh, when he's putting his money where his mouth is. Like, yeah, the first thing is true, but also at the same time, it doesn't mean you need to have as many children as absolutely possible. I mean, you can maybe as many children as is practical, and I don't think this is practical. Like, this is not a practical way to raise children, in my opinion. So, yeah, whose money where his mouth is. He's creating all these kids. You're like, okay, well, like, the idea is, like, for one, you're not going to do it on your own. Like, as one guy, you're not going to be like, cool, I made 15 kids. The idea is to instill this idea in other people in the rest of the country that, hey, this, like, ongoing, idea that you've been sold as the new Pax Americana, as being this person about your career and maybe having like one kid and living in the city and all this, like, maybe that's not the way. Maybe really there's a different template that's better. Like, I don't know, having 3, 4, 5 kids and trying to spend as much possible time as you can with those children. That might be more realistic than whatever the fuck this is. Because, normal people can't do this. Normal people aren't able to acquire concubines, nor do I think it's a good way to go about life. New York Times reports that in addition to the women he's already had children with, Musk has offered his own sperm to friends and acquaintances. One of those acquaintances, according to Times, was former independent vice presidential candidate Nicole Shanahan, who Musk reportedly proffered his DNA to in 2022. Shanahan, who would go on to become Robert F. Kennedy's running mate, is said to have declined. Politely, no, I don't want your jizz. Other people whom the richest man in the world similarly offered his seed to include a married couple he had met socially only a handful of times, according to 2 people who witnessed his proposal, which reportedly took place last year at a dinner party at the home of a well-known Silicon Valley executive. It's not clear how the couple responded. Now, I want to backtrack real quick. Remember that point I made at the beginning, which was like a kind of a tweet I made that was like semi-joking about like, oh, hey, maybe this guy is pumping loads into people and creating his own little influence network via his children. I don't know. That actually, from an influence op type perspective, that's a pretty solid, template. I didn't want to reuse that word again. It's pretty solid, mechanism to use, I guess. I mean, you have the mom that you've now created a mom, or I guess even the man, if you're assuming it was a couple there, you have them like you're literally the father of their child. Like, so now you have that connection. On top of that, that child will grow up one day and likely inherit the things that Elon, and then the mother, and then maybe if there's another father involved, like whatever, things they naturally inherit. I don't know. It's not a great idea. Not the worst idea from a kind of trying to run an empire type thing as a person of influence. If you were the one trying to play the influence game, not the worst idea. Musk, his lawyer, and the head of his family office did not respond to requests for comments from the Time. Representative from Musk did not respond to Vanity Fair's request for comment. The Time story follows similar reporting from the Wall Street Journal, which ran an article in June about Musk's boundary-blurring relationships with women at SpaceX. According to the outlet, a woman who directly reported to Musk alleged that he had asked her on multiple occasions to have his babies, according to people familiar with the allegations. While that woman reportedly said no, not all people who have worked for Musk have turned down his offers. In 2022, Business Insider reported that Musk had fathered twins with Siobhan Zilis, a top executive at Neuralink, another company owned by the billionaire. Musk has since fathered a third child with Zilis, throw in the 5 kids he had with his first wife, Justine Musk, and the 3 with Claire Boucher, aka Grimes, and that puts his tally at least 11. At least, because Musk has previously tried to keep various children a secret, and with the way he goes around offering to father relatives, strangers, children, there could very well be others out there. Representatives for Boucher did not respond to the Times' request for comment, nor did Zilis or Shanahan. Representatives for Shanahan, Zilis, and Boucher did not respond to Vanity Fair's request for comment. Not surprisingly, attempting to single-handedly boost the global birth rate is not the only creepy thing Musk has been up to. He has also, according to the Times, built a Texas compound in the hopes of housing all of his offspring and their mothers there, in some weird Big Love style situation. On a quiet, leafy street of multi-million-dollar properties, one stands out. All right. Okay, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. A 14,400 square foot mansion that looks like a villa plucked from the hills of Tuscany and transplanted to Austin, Texas. This is where Elon Musk, 53, the world's richest man and perhaps the most important campaign backer of former President Donald J. Trump, has been trying to establish the cornerstone of an unusual family compound, according to 4 people familiar with his plans. Mr. Musk has told people close to him in recent months that he visions his children, of which there are at least 11, and 2 of their 3 mothers occupying adjoining properties. That way, his younger children could be a part of one another's lives, and Musk could schedule time among them. Now, I will say, for one, this is creepy. Like, it's weird that there's this giant compound of his entire family. I will grant, slightly better than, if you are going to create all these concubines that you're dumping children into, and if you also do have a plan to literally have like a compound that you guys all live on together, I guess that's better. It's still fucking weird. And I still don't think it's ideal. This is still bizarre. But either way, I guess slightly better. But obviously there are parallels between this for those who have dug deep into the Epstein story. And people know he literally had basically a breeding farm on one of his islands, I think. So this has echoes of that as well. Unfortunately for Musk, not everyone is jazzed about the idea. According to the Times, only Zilis has moved in with her kids. Boucher is currently in a protracted legal fight with Mr. Musk and has so far steered clear. Musk's children with his first wife are all late teens or older, and he's estranged from at least one of them. Musk is currently doing everything in his power to elect Trump. All right, blah, 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 blah. The Trump stuff's whatever. That's the end of the story there. I just thought that was particularly interesting and bizarre, for sure. Elon just spreading his Nephilim seed all over. Also, you can't make agreements against public policy, says Tyler, meaning you can't contract to not pay support or only pay if certain actions take place. The agreement might be for the department, etc. Okay. All this info has convinced me that it's impossible for him to run 7 international corporations all grift acting. Perhaps. I think I bet you a lot of his stuff is probably outsourced. Let me share this. It's from Syrian Girl. I thought this was just kind of a smart way to put it, and kind of the way I've been looking at it too. The right word for Ashley St. Clair is concubine. His other 2 concubines, Siobhan Zilis and Grimes, have given him 3 children each. It's important to note that these children were not accidents. Ashley announced that he was getting off birth control, and Elon Musk congratulated. Grimes even used a surrogate so she can have 2 children 7 months apart. The system we live in now in modern-day feudalist system with Elon as emperor. What's more interesting is to think about what type of woman would consider such appointment and what are its terms. Grime is an oddity because she had money and success in her own right, but she was the first concubine, so may not have realized she was one, though Musk was having children with Siobhan simultaneously. Elon's Musk's first wife was the most attractive. He met her when she was 18, and she was 18, and she gave him 6 children. Now, I want to know how old he was, because that's weird. She was 18. Now, if he was young too, okay, cool. Curiously, his concubine, if he was around the same age too, then I was kind of wrong about my idea about his riz, because I already looked at this, and his first wife is cute. Curiously, his concubines have been progressively less and less attractive and accomplished, ending with Ashley St. Clair, who was a former sex worker. I don't know the truth of that. I don't know what she did. The conclusion is that with modern-day concubines, there's a focus on quantity over quality because quality would demand more than such a life. So, yeah, just kind of making the point that, like, he's had wives and they're higher quality, and then you go look at, like, and this is a little bit mean, but I don't know. I think there's something to that. Like, these are his concubines. He's putting babies in. You can see the photos of them. And then here are his, previous wives. So, and which both were really pretty. So, I mean, hey, hell, he pulled that off. So good for him. Let's pop back in the chat. Elon is modern day Brigham Young. I don't think I know who Brigham Young is. Maybe it's one of those ones, if you jog my memory, I would, but I definitely do not right now. All right, let's get into, let me give you a little, actually, fuck it, let's do this one first. Let's do, oh, my bad, I thought I had the thing up. I see Ray says, does Jose not know the sex laptop lore? No, I do not. I've heard people say sex laptop. I don't know what that is. I know it's related to her. I mean, I could probably make some guesses, but I do not know enough. Brigham Young, founder of modern Mormon Church. Okay, I can see that. Okay. I thought it was Joseph Smith, but whatever. Okay. I guess maybe that was the founder after the fact. I don't fucking know. All right, let's get into the next. Just shave my nuts and Nadeau. What did I miss? I'm sorry to your nuts. Sociopathic liars aren't just going to lie once, says JB. Like his gaming career, his real career is likely outsourced to nerdy Asian guys, probably Indians. But yeah, that's kind of what I think is likely. I mean, don't get me wrong. Once again, I'm not saying he's not a genius. He hasn't done a lot of stuff. So, I mean, if those who aren't aware, apparently that came out to be true. I have no idea. If this is another one of those things, I don't know if it's true or not. Apparently, supposedly his gaming, like, I don't know if he was like in the top 10 in Diablo in the world or something crazy. I forget the claims he's made about his gaming achievements, which once again is like, how the fuck are you doing this while doing all these other things? Apparently that's bullshit, is what some people said. I don't know. So if that is the case, though, it does reflect on him though, because it's almost like borderline, pathological lying shit. Like, why? Like, why would you lie about being top in the world in Diablo? Like, when you already have so many other accomplishments to your name, like, why? Like, once again, more Paul Bunyan bullshit. Completely unnecessary, especially given all your other accomplishments. All right, let's get into the next one. And then Tyler said, yeah, right after Smith. So that is the case. That's after Smith. All right, we're getting a little spooky here. I found this thread. I read a little like half of it. I thought it was interesting, especially since we covered Jack the Ripper. So this kind of goes a little bit more into Jack the Ripper today, kind of tying it into themes that you find in True Detective, which, by the way, I have gone in contact with someone whose whole thing is like analyzing film and is very much in our parapolitical world. And I'm probably going to cover True Detective Season 1 on the show as an episode here soon, because I fucking love that show. So we'll probably do that soon. It's just a matter of when I have an opening in the schedule. So just keep an eye out for that. Ever wonder why True Detective Season 1 left you so unsettled? Rituals, hidden networks, it all felt too real, didn't it? That's because it was. Jack the Ripper fits into that same framework. Secret societies, ritual killings, and dark truths. Let's dive in. Great writers don't pull stories from thin air. They reflect reality. Just look at the symbolism from the show. See both photos. True Detective didn't invent dark, hidden networks of power and violence. These things have existed for centuries. God, I just got super lispy there. Ritual killings tied to elite societies. That's not fiction. It's history. Sound familiar? Now let's step into London, 1888. Jack the Ripper didn't just kill. He mutilated his victims with shocking precision. Organs like the uterus removed deliberately. It wasn't random. These murders were part of something larger. Murder rituals. What was he really doing? Now, any one of you, which I assume many of you have, gone down the program to kill wormhole, or rabbit hole, not wormhole, you have seen many weird, what seem to be ritualistic murders. in this vein, with things like breasts cut off or disemboweled with with organs displayed in certain ways. This is a thing, and this is a thread that's out there that you can follow, and it's there's a lot of parapolitic dots that can be connected there. And also I just kind of wanted to take a moment to point out that True Detective season 1 was pretty ahead of its time in what it was what it was saying. Like it was very much a revelation of the method. Like for those who've seen season 1, the idea that it was essentially a child trafficking network where they were doing awful satanic rituals to children, and there were these politically connected individuals. That's a thing that happens in the world. And at the time that True Detective season 1 happened, this was not a thing that was in the public consciousness whatsoever, not even a tiny bit. And this is it very much busted open the door for that. Because this was, I believe it was, I want to say this was pre-Epstein it came out. So to kind of so you understand where the public was at. Like this was before Epstein, this shit dropped, and it's very much on the nose. Enter Aaron Kosminski, linked to the murders through DNA, but the real twist, not really, his connections to Freemasonry. Kosminski's brother was a member of the Israel Lodge. What a coincidence. Let's look at the further implicating symbolism behind the gruesome murders. Now, once again, I want to be clear when we point out the connections to Freemasonry. I'm not even saying all Freemasons. But now anyone who's done their digging into, say, something like the Bavarian Illuminati or Gladio or even some Israel-type connections, I believe even like Anton LaVey, I want to say there were some weird connections like Masonic. These lodges a lot of times are used as hubs for secret activities. And this doesn't mean that it's necessarily, perfectly tied into Masonry, whether it's a key feature of it, or if that's just a bug in it in which that like this is something that can be exploited due to the secretive nature of it. People can have their ideas one way or the other, but either way, this was an entity that either was part and parcel to or infiltrated by other groups. So, and it's there's kind of no way around it. I mean, especially like with examples like I think Gladio is a good one. Was it like what I forget, was it the P2 or P something lounges or whatever? I forget. There were like there were direct connections between like Masonic lodges to how this was being carried out. So just to throw it out there, and a lot of people like to act like this is just complete conspiracy bullshit. No, there is smoke to the whole Freemasonry thing. Okay. And then also with the Sabbatean stuff, which ties deeply into Bavarian Illuminati stuff as well. That also has ties into Freemasonry. So, and then, this guy, Israel Lodge, this guy's Jewish. I mean, obviously, I'm just noticing the patterns. I'm not saying that is the case. I haven't seen anything that explicitly says there's any Sabbatean connections. I'm just pointing out there are all these dots that could easily be connected. Freemasonry isn't about secret handshakes. It's an ancient society with rituals, power, and control. In Masonic oaths, betrayal is punished by mutilation, which that is true. That is actually part of the oath. The Ripper's killings, they eerily mirror those symbolic acts. Was he performing a ritual? Exactly like True Detective. And here's a photo of something Freemasonic. And just like True Detective shows us, sometimes the darkest truths are hidden in plain sight. The Ripper wasn't just an individual with a sick craving to kill. He was part of a network, a hidden structure of power, secrecy, and control. His murder is likely designed to send a message for those with the eyes to see it. And I show a photo of the all-seeing eye, I don't know, whatever. Even at the time of the crimes, Kosminski was a prime suspect, and instead of facing trial, he was quietly committed to an asylum. Now, once again, another parallel to be had here. I've seen this happen in multiple other, particularly child trafficking networks, where something similar to this happens. With the Franklin scandal, they put what was his name? Lawrence King, the big black guy who was like, I believe, number 2 or number 3. No, he was like number 3, I think. He was Speaker of the House, I believe, at one point. So he was like, I think, number 3 in line to the presidency. And he was essentially running this child trafficking network. He conveniently ended up, I think it was him. They ended up in an asylum. It was him or maybe one of the other lackeys of his, but I want to say it was King, that ended up in an asylum, which at a convenient time in the court proceedings and the accusations that were going on at the time. And then he ended up coming out later, whereas this Kosminski guy, I think, ended up staying in the asylum. But point being, it serves the same purpose, is what it seems like. It's out of sight, out of mind. The case was closed and the truth buried. The Masonic network, with its far-reaching influence, likely played a role in ensuring that justice was never served. Those 1988 investigations didn't catch the killer, but they did reveal the elite's hand. The infamous Jews, J-U-W-E-S message scrawled near one of the crime scenes. This wasn't ordinary graffiti. In Masonic lore, the Jews, J-U-W-E-S, were the assassins of Haram Abif, symbols of betrayal and punishment. It was a deliberate clue meant for those who knew its hidden meaning. Now, I cannot vouch for that whatsoever. I know nothing about that lore, so if any guys in the chat do, feel free to sign off or look into it yourself to verify that. Much like True Detective, where power and twisted rituals hide in plain sight, Jack the Ripper wasn't acting alone. His victims weren't random. They were chosen as symbols in a dark, calculated ritual. His actions were shielded by the very institutions meant to stop him. Have we remained blind to the truth all along? Hollywood reveals more truth in fiction than we realize. Think of characters like Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, a respectable businessman on the surface, but running a dark operation beneath it. Like so many do today, Jack the Ripper is another example of fiction imitating reality, a hidden figure protected by elite powers pulling the strings. Which, on that note, I do have to point out, when it comes to True Detective, how kind of spooky of a character Matthew McConaughey is. Once again, I'm not saying he necessarily does any of the awful things that are implied in True Detective and stuff, but considering the position he took, the one he ran it, he was a guy in the show, and then his connections. He was wasn't there a shooting a while ago where he was the first person to be like, come in and like kind of somewhat push the anti-gun message. And then on top of that, he's like homies with with Obama and I want to say other past presidents. It just seems this guy's pretty tied into these players that would be kind of the implication of being child-sucking monsters in True Detective for anyone who actually, and you would think someone so tied to the material, like the literal lead actor, would pick up on that extremely heavy-handed hint. Yeah, I'm just saying it's hard not to notice it. Like, hey, what the fuck? DNA may have tied Aaron Kosminski in the murders, but it doesn't explain why. This is where the Freemason connection becomes crucial. These killings weren't personal. They were ritualistic. The women weren't just victims. They were symbols, sacrificed in a larger secret game. Now, I will admit a lot of this is just kind of like take my word for it, but there's interesting things to be taken out of it. And the symbols didn't stop at the mutilations. The precision, the removal of specific organs like the uterus all mirrored ancient punishments. In Masonic oaths, betrayal is punished by dismemberment, mirroring the way Jack the Ripper operated. This wasn't rage, it was a methodical message sent to those in the know. Just like True Detective's Yellow King, even the name Yellow King is symbolic, creators are in the know, and the cult behind him, Jack the Ripper's crimes weren't the work of a lone madman. He was part of a hidden network, and just like in the show, they mostly got away with it and are probably still doing the same thing today. True Detective reminds us that sometimes the darkest truths are hiding in plain sight. Jack the Ripper's ritualistic killings and the powerful connections behind him suggest one thing. He wasn't acting alone. He was part of something bigger, a hidden system the public still struggles to understand. The Freemasons, the rituals, the hidden power all point to a deeper, darker story behind Jack the Ripper's crimes. Was he ever meant to be caught, or was the system working exactly as intended, ensuring his secrets stay buried? The truth is out there if we're willing to see it. Now, this was from Fractured Light. I'll give him a follow. He doesn't have a huge account, so give him a little follow. Fractured Light 0 on Twitter. If you like that, he said at the end too, I hope you enjoyed it, making a video on this soon. So hey, if you look for it, there's probably a little video to encompass it. I mean, I will say he was a little bit overly certain about some of the stuff and didn't provide supporting stuff, but it's a thread, so I don't know. I mean, he went pretty deep. So I mean, I thought it was interesting some of the connections that were drawn upon there. Let's check in the chat. What's up, Bobo? What's up, retard? He says. Lance says, I give up. I'm going to knock on my local lodge tomorrow. Jordan says the first issues with Epstein pop up in 2005 and he arrested in 2006. I'm not sure when let me see when True Detective season 1 dropped. Let me see. I'm going to check that real quick. 2014. Okay, well maybe I'm a little wrong there. I forget what year was Epstein died. Because I mean, like, yes, there was stuff that happened with Epstein before, but it wasn't in the public. Knowledge, I guess you could say. Let's look up Epstein death. There we go. Epstein death. Oh, I spelled it wrong. 2019. Okay, yeah. So it was before the big revelation where everyone really started to figure things out. So, yeah. So yeah. I mean, I know it happened before then. Yeah. Musk claiming to be top PoE player and not knowing basic map mechanics. I don't even know what the fuck these things you're saying are. It's like NASA claiming to go to the moon in the 60s, but can't do it again because they no longer have the technology. Yeah, because I guess you're saying you didn't know basic game mechanic. Why am I struggling with that word? Mechanics. It's an easy word. I literally was a mechanic for like a decade. He was 100% lying. That is the problem with the gaming claims. The only people who can confirm he is lying are losers. Yeah. Sorry, JB. Yeah, he said I'm a loser. I would know. You're right. You're not a loser. You're great. I love you all right. Okay, let's get into the next story, and I think this will be the last one. I missed a call, and I need to call back during the show. So there was one more, but I don't know, probably save that one for tomorrow. All right, this is a follow-up on, well, I guess I don't even know if follow-ups are right. I just had part 2 of my Vegas series drop. Here's a little short that I had. We're not going to watch the short, but I just put, did you know that just a few weeks prior to the Vegas shooting, Stephen Paddock transferred $150,000 to his girlfriend, whom he instructed to go visit family in the Philippines. I put weird, and then it was just kind of promotional post, and I put the links, blah, 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 little thing, and it shows a clip where we talk about exactly that, obviously. Now, what I wanted to zone in on is one of my mutuals, Ghastly Skullduggery, which is a good follow to have. He posted something below that, kind of like adding more information, and then I put the on the True Detective note. Here's here's Matthew McConaughey smoking a cigarette, that prolific scene, and I said add to this in the mix, and holy fuck! Now let's go find out what the hell I was saying. Holy fuck about. Now I just pointed out in that short we were analyzing how it was shown that was it a few weeks prior to the shooting, to the Vegas shooting, Mary Lou Danley, I think her name was, MLD is what we can call her. She left to go to the Philippines on Paddock's suggestion, is the claim. He suggested she go to the Philippines, which is where her family's from, but out of the country at the time he was going to be perpetrating a shooting. And he wired her over $150,000 during that period of time under the auspices of to buy a house, which, okay, sure, maybe. But that's a lot of money, and so it's very bizarre. So you can definitely put that in the that's weird territory. But this gets it into beyond the that's weird territory. He says, Ghastly Skullduggery says, did you also know that MLD deactivated her Facebook page the night of the shooting, several hours before Paddock was publicly named? Pretty fucking wild. Now you pair that with $150,000, we're cooking with fire. In this thing, the homie Skullduggery took some excerpts from a story. It says, unsealed documents show gunman's girlfriend deleted Facebook after Las Vegas shooting. Further excerpts, Metropolitan Police Department investigators noticed that Mary Lou Danley, the gunman's girlfriend, who was in the Philippines at the time, set her Facebook account to private at 12:30 a.m. On October 2nd, it had deleted the account by 2:46 a.m., and according to an affidavit, included more than 300 pages of documents handed over Friday by federal prosecutors after blah, blah, blah. Okay. Anyways, that just shows that she deleted it, like I said. So that's confirmation. Authorities released Paddock's name about an hour after Danley deleted her account. So after the account was deleted, that's when the authorities released it. Now, I guess, to be fair, maybe somehow they had talked to her before this, so somehow she knew. And so maybe, I guess, the best explanation, because I can totally get someone being like, hey, your loved one carried out, like, probably one of the biggest, like, domestic mass shootings in the country. They're like, okay, I think I might want to delete my social media. I can totally get that. But, so, I mean, I guess it is kind of contingent on whether she had received word before this or not. But had she not received word, didn't know that Paddock had anything to do with this, especially because you would think that if she had heard about the shooting, she would probably be concerned that her boyfriend is okay. Because, I mean, you would think that, like, hey, maybe, so you would want your Facebook to receive word on his well-being. All right. Okay, there's that. All right, she had been located. Authorities released Paddock's name, but okay, I already read that. Why is it being like this? Sorry. I think he shared the same one twice. Our Las Vegas shooter's girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, tells family she has a clean conscience. And then that's not even all of it. Let's go back real quick. Then he added more to this, which gets even fucking weirder. Here is a little bit. Here's another excerpt. It says, Paddock fired at the 2 fuel tanks at McCarran International Airport during his attack on the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival, but didn't cause an explosion. So the massive fuel tanks are located very close to the secret fleet of passenger planes that make up Janet Airlines, which the government uses to shuttle workers to intelligence agencies' outposts like Area 51, according to a RadarOnline.com report. Janet is based at McCarran International Airport, and its hangar is just beyond a parking lot directly adjacent to those gas tankers, a source told the website. So I guess they're saying that there were fuel tanks that actually had taken shots during that. So I say that, but they didn't cause an explosion. Now, I do want to back up. I don't know. How do I put this? I don't think bullets, when it comes to fuel tanks, will cause explosions. I've referenced this before. I remember I watched a Mythbusters forever ago, and that was one of the ones you can't shoot fuel tanks. You always see in movies, you see people shoot a car or a fuel tank, and boom. Yeah, that's nonsense. That's not how that works. But I will add something to this. If I recall correctly, I might be wrong on this. I don't know if we covered this in the first episode or in the second episode. I'm pretty sure there was a big thing about him trying to get, I think this was in the second episode, trying to get ammo. I believe he had acquired supposedly incendiary rounds of some sort. So now and it was odd that he was very focused on the incendiary rounds. Like, what's the point of incendiary rounds if you plan on shooting a bunch of people? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess that does increase the damage, probably, shooting at humans, but it's just kind of, I don't know. I don't feel like incendiary really is that meaningful when it comes to that type of usage. But now if you were trying to create an explosion, possibly. I want to say, if I recall correctly, they even did try to use explosive ammo of some sort and it didn't work, but I might be wrong. So point being is considering the weird ammo that he was specifically, I want to say it was like incendiary, some sort of specific type of ammo. I'm pretty sure it was incendiary ammo that he really was insistent on getting, or he did get before then. It was an odd thing about it. So, and then on top of that, shooting at fuel tanks near passenger planes that go to Area 51. I don't know if there's anything to be had for that, but it's just bizarre. This is just thinking about the origin of Area 51. We don't see that. And now here is one last one. All right, this is bizarre. 14. Okay, here's an amazing discrepancy. He says it has an out-of-this-world connection. 14 years of the divorce, they registered adjacent buildings on the same date. Now, the divorce, this is the Paddock. He was married before. This is ex-wife of Las Vegas shooter, lives in Cerritos, but has not been in contact for years. TV cameras began arriving within hours outside the home of the ex-wife. Peggy Paddock and the gunman divorced 27 years ago after a 6-year marriage, according to Sheriff's Department Sergeant Court Bishop. The two have not been in contact for many years, said Bishop, who arrived at the home pre-dawn to act as a buffer between Peggy Paddock and the media. Authorities don't believe she has any information about the shooting, according to Bishop. And then now that's the ex-wife. They divorced 27 years ago. They were married for 6 years. Now here is a company information thing from, this is called Paradise Ranch, is what it says, which is what I believe Paddock worked for, one of the weird agencies he worked for, which glows. You can see the document information here. Paradise Ranch 21 LLC. Keep in mind 21. And this is from InCorp Services. Let me see, where's the name on this one? I showed the name before. Let me see if I can find it. Where's Stephen Paddock at the beginning? Now let's go look at the next one. Now here's the exact same document, but this one says Paradise Ranch 22 LLC. Scroll down, same company, InCorp Services, 3773 Howard Hughes Parkway. I'm assuming that one's probably, actually, let's look at the other one real quick. 3773. What one's this? This one is 236 Corporate Circle, Suite 400. I thought maybe they'd be like, oh, never mind. Address 3773 Parkway. Okay, well, it looks like they're in the same building, maybe like adjacent or something. But anyways, you go to the bottom of this one. Who's at the bottom of it other than Peggy Paddock, his ex-wife? You look at the date on this. Let's find the date. 2017. So this is they had supposedly gotten married, 14 years or divorced 14 years prior, but here they are registering adjacent buildings at the same date. So the date on these are the same as well. So what's going on here? I don't know. This is bizarre. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Let's roll through the chat real quick. Just check in with y'all real quick. Bobo saying I got to hop out. Much love, y'all. Retards, deuces. That'll blow shit up. Oh, that'll blow shit up is what definitely says. So, okay, I feel like I've heard that before. The incendiaries might. I don't know. I can't remember whether they're likely to. But he did have, if I recall correctly, he got incendiary ammo for this. So maybe the goal was to do something there, although I don't fucking know what the end game was there. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Sorry, I was poking over to the Rumble, make sure there was no Rumble rants. Do want to remind you guys can support me over at Rumble Rants if you want to do it that way. You can support me over at patreon.com/nowayjose2020. The highest or the lowest level is $2. That's where you get the early access to the episodes. For example, like the Vegas episode we will be recording tonight. We'll be doing part 3 with Biggest Shitter. Also at the $2 level, you can be a talking head on me and Austin's Already Dead show, which is our weekly live stream call-in show on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So pop in for those. You can be a talking head on there. Or for the video, for the call-in portion, which is the second half of the show, we take video call-ins from supporters at that point. So you get a StreamYard link. You can hop in as a talking head alongside below us. Also, you can get ad-free RSS feed there, so you can get all of my stuff in audio form in an RSS feed without the ad. So all the newer stuff. I don't have like my old archive. I only started somewhat recently, but either way, you'll get the ad-free stuff. So because I know a lot of people don't like the new podcast host and the increased ads, but with that, you can pay and have no ads for $2. The highest lows of my sponsors, I read them off every episode. My co-host Entire Gang at Tower Gang Toad, also at Abrigades, at ZOVRACK, at _ Infinite Zeal, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebel, Will Bell's Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, Big Fan of the Show, Torn May, and then at INWARD Lover. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. If you are watching this on video, go scroll down a little bit, hit that like button. Helps out a lot. If you're listening to this on audio, scroll up to the top, go leave a 5-star review on whatever podcatcher you're using. Helps out a ton. Also, you want to follow me on Twitter at Tower Gang Jose. That's the way to do it. I take a lot of suggestions from you guys. You guys tag me and stuff. I bring them up on the show all the time. With that, we are out of here. Love you all. Deuces. Someone says my cat has worms. Will help if I shave it and give it a bath in the kitchen sink. Please advise. Yeah, it'll help. You should do that. With that, let's get out of here. Deuces.